And on this Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 edition of Newsmakers, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is ending the mandatory flu vaccine requirement for service members.
The notion that a flu vaccine must be mandatory for every service member everywhere in every circumstance at all times is just overly broad and not rational. Our new policy is simple. If you, an American warrior entrusted to defend this nation, believe that the flu vaccine is in your best interest, then you are free to take it. You should. But we will not force you.
Hegseth says the policy change aligns with the Trump administration's efforts to reverse COVID-19 vaccine mandates and reinstate service members who were discharged for refusing them.
Our men and women in uniform were forced to choose between their conscience and their country, even when those decisions posed no threat to our military readiness. You know what I'm talking about, what happened COVID-19. No more. That era of betrayal is over.
Pope Leo has begun the fourth and final leg of his Africa journey. Details from Charles de Ledesma.
Pope Leo arrived in Equatorial Guinea, swiftly rebuking the colonization of Africa's minerals and the lust for power in a country whose repressive leader has been in office since 1979. Adoring crowds in the largely Catholic country lined the road from the airport into the capital, Malabo, cheering the first pope to visit since St. Paul II in 1982. Later, Leo sent a strong message to the political authorities on the unfair exploitation of raw materials, the dignity of labour, economic inequalities, and respect for international law during his speech to the civil society at the presidential palace. The discovery of offshore oil in the mid-1990s has transformed Equatorial Guinea's economy virtually overnight. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The Southern Poverty Law Center is in the spotlight after the group announced today that it's the subject of a U.S. Justice Department criminal investigation because of its past use of paid informants. The Justice Department had no immediate comment. The SPLC was created 55 years ago to support civil rights and expanded to label and track hate groups. In recent years, the organization has faced criticism from conservatives who say it unfairly maligns viewpoints of some of the groups it tracks. The FBI cut ties with the SPLC in 2025, calling it a partisan smear machine. The center previously used informants to infiltrate extremist groups. CEO Brian Fair said information from their informants was frequently shared with the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. The center's intelligence project has grown over the years, and the organization has faced criticism from some of the groups it has added to the tracker. Conservatives have said adding some groups unfairly maligns them because of their viewpoints. For instance, Focus on the Family was added in part because of its LGBTQ+ rhetoric. That criticism escalated after the September 2025 assassination of Charlie Kirk at a college campus in Utah. That's brought renewed attention to the center's inclusion of Kirk's group, Turning Point USA. The center included a section on Turning Point in a report titled The Year in Hate and Extremism in 2024 that described the group as a case study of the hard right in 2024. A month after Kirk's death, FBI Director Kash Patel announced that the Bureau would sever its relationship with the center, asserting that the organization had been turned into a partisan smear machine and criticizing it for its use of a hate map. That move marked a dramatic rethinking of long-standing FBI partnerships with prominent civil rights groups. And that's Newsmakers for this Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 edition. I'm Keith Black.